Well, Jensen, it's a very exciting time, and we saw your the opening video of conference you just had this month, and it's amazing, beautiful video. So, would you like to talk a little bit about your video, your vision, what you think?
Yeah, Masa, thanks for having me. It's always great to sit and talk to you about big ideas. In fact, in our times together, we've spoken about some very big ideas. One of them, of course, is artificial intelligence. A computer can write software by itself. Software can write software.
Yeah.
And because we know that there are many problems we want to solve that we don't know how to solve, and for the very first time, we can build very powerful computers that can write software that humans cannot.
Right.
And that observation, and in fact, you observed it very early as well. Several years ago, you came to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Several years ago, you came to talk to me.
Yes.
That you observed NVIDIA's work in artificial intelligence and the new way of doing computer science and new way of creating software was such a great idea that we decided to dedicate our whole company to it.
That's very amazing. You know, writing software is a very tedious effort, and you do the debugging and you have to think unlike human. But now with computer writing the software, we can save a lot of time, and we can focus more on creating something that and then creative thinking. So it helps our creativity so much more. So this is a very important point. Okay. So as you said, the architecture would change. People need to understand about this big change in the concept, because I say the early stage, the first stage of computing, first it did the calculation. Instead of people do calculation slowly, the computer can do calculation very quickly. And then the second, it can memorize so much more information than one human can do. So it can have a massive memory. When you have a massive memory, you want to search, right? Because there are so many data that you want to search out of those massive memory. So the computer was utilized for those purpose, and then the company who were good at realizing those purpose made a big success. But now, finally, computer got the ears and the eyes, right, to recognize your voice and the speech, recognize what you can see with the image recognition, right? So that would totally change how the computer should be utilized. And you are in the center of those, deep learning for learning what people can see with the eyes and the ears, and which we did not have in the computing world until just recently.
Just as calculation, computer did it at scale.
Right.
Remembering, storing data, computer did it at scale.
Yeah.
Intelligence, recognizing patterns, reasoning, planning.
Yeah.
Now the computer is going to do that at scale.
Exactly, and the speed.
Intelligence at scale.
Yeah.
That's the reason why this age of AI is such an important time.
Yes.
And during our conversation, you and I have spoken about so many breakthroughs that have come. Computer vision is now, of course, better than humans.
Yep.
Speech recognition is now better than human. Yep. Even summarization is better than human.
Right.
And so language understanding is becoming better than humans. Translation is becoming better than humans. And so the ability for this type of software to be able to learn from enormous amounts of data at extremely large scale and speed is something that humans cannot keep up with.
So some people say, well, computer can see and listen, but the computer cannot understand the context. Some people say that. I said, why? If human can understand with the logic, as long as there is a logic, of course, computer should be able to understand the context because it's a bunch of come with a bunch of logic, right? And people have been thinking, what is the best volume should I procure? How much volume can we sell this Christmas? People have been thinking, and that is the thinking people thought, oh, I am expert. I am most good at than average other people on the street. But as you say, computer can think what is the best mix, what is the best volume that we should prepare as the storage for the inventory so that we don't waste, right? So this is a part of thinking that computer can become expert and with a massive data of the seasonality, the temperature, weather, and employment rates, the pandemic, all those input of data, the computer can actually think what is the best mix of product and the volume, what is the best price that should we price to win against the competition, what is the best recommendation should we give to each individual customer based on their hobby and their buying pattern and the habit and their budget and so on, right?
That's exactly right. And so if you look at Walmart, we work with Walmart on their inventory management system and their retail checkout system and their warehouse logistics system. They have so many stores. They have hundreds of thousands of SKUs. And every retail store is different because every retail store is in a different region. And each region has its regional taste. Sometimes there's a hurricane, and all of a sudden they need special type of things. Maybe sometimes there's a picnic, just a picnic or a big game. All of a sudden beer runs out or certain types of foods run out. You see that each one of the regions and each one of the stores are behaving differently. It's impossible for somebody to sit at headquarters, to collect the information, reason about what to do, plan the inventory, ship it to the stores. In the future, Walmart is going to be one giant AI.
Right. Yes.
One giant AI. And that's the exciting part, the exciting time right now. I believe that every company will become an AI.
Yeah. Banking is a great example also, right? Banking become a giant AI center, which just happen to manage people's wealth, right?
That's right. When AI moves out to the world, and AI is now autonomous machines. Everything will be a robot. Buildings will be a robot. Cars will be a robot. There will be two-wheel robots, two-leg robots, two-arm robots. Your future artificial leg to help people walk is a robot.
Yes.
Your future wheelchair will be a robot.
Well, I think the biggest robot is the autonomous car. So it's a gigantic industry, and so people still doubt. So many people still doubt can autonomous driving would be safer or as safe as human drivers. Okay. You and I are true believer of the autonomous driving, but let the audience know that where are we in the autonomous driving stage, and 5 years and then 10 years, what's the level of autonomous driving, capability and safetiness? Can you comment on that?
I would break autonomous driving into three large categories. Okay. The first category is autonomous vehicles, for example, delivery grocery. There's nobody inside, just lettuce and milk and eggs. and it's a very slow moving car, maybe only moving at 5, 10, 15 miles per hour, and no harm will come.
Right.
No harm will come. That will be completely autonomous.
Yeah. Even inside the logistics center, the warehouse, right?
Second, inside heavily mapped areas, regions that are very well understood, there'll be taxi services that are essentially driving on a invisible rail. It's almost like a rail tram, except it's based on AI.
Right.
And of course, it's much more advanced than a tram, but it's driving on digital rails, digital maps. Still very complicated, but you can imagine the technology is possible. Yeah. In fact, Google just announced, right? Waymo just announced that Arizona, their cars are now completely driverless. Yeah. So it has begun.
So people still ask question about what happens if the dog run on the street, the birds comes, and the heavy rain and the snow, all those long tail, very rare case. Can autonomous driving be safe enough compared to the human drivers?
It will be safer than a human driver.
I absolutely agree with you, but there are many other people who don't believe that yet.
Yeah, we have to show it and prove it, but there's no question it will be safer. And the third category is passenger cars. Right? Third category is passenger cars. The thing about passenger cars is that it doesn't have to be completely autonomous. It just has to make the driving experience much more delightful. In the future, when you have a self-driving car and it's a passenger, you're driving the car, it's almost like you're driving with your brain power. Your hand is on the steering wheel. You're paying attention. It's almost like you're thinking and the car is connected to your brain. Yeah. That is going to be really a wonderful experience. But it's driving assistance. Very, very advanced driving assistance. And of course, you could tell the car to go park itself. When you're in a traffic jam, of course, it will drive by itself, and you can even take a nap if you like.
I think sometime in the future, the regular human driver's car will be limited into some hobby area. Like we used to have horse riding on the street, right? But now horse riding is limited to some hobby area, right? If you ride a horse on the highway, you will be caught by the police and so on. I think in the future, autonomous driving become the center of the transportation, and human can, of course, have a hobby of driving.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're working on autonomous machines now, of all kinds. There's ones that swim. Of course, all boats and all ships will be autonomous. Flying, autonomous. So we're working on so many autonomous machines. There's some 40 million people around the world that needs prosthetics. And so now we could give them robotic legs. And so I think the robotic technology there is going to help a great deal of people.
At the time, 4 years ago, when we were having dinner, that was exactly the timing I was deciding to acquire ARM. And that is exactly the timing that I thought the combination of ARM and NVIDIA with some kind of collaboration, right? That we talked about many ideas, and will create new age of computing, right? As a platform. And I'm so excited and happy that that what we were discussing is becoming true.